creature of the night, Michael. Just like out of a comic book. You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
Hey guys, welcome back to Spooky Tuesday, a weekly podcast where we're breaking down all of our favorite slashers, thrillers, monster movies, and black comedies on the new scariest day of the week. I'm Sydney Thompson.
I'm Monica Height.
And I'm Chelsea Duff. And I almost just jumped in before you right there, Monica. Something in me really wanted to go before you.
Wow,
I don't know why. I was so ready. I guess I'm excited to do this episode.
Okay, seconds before I said my name, I was like, I feel like I'm going to fuck it up this time. I don't know why.
We're out of practice. It's been over a week since we recorded our last episode. And the week before that, we did like 5 episodes back to back. To stock up. I guess we just we're rusty. We're rusty.
Like
forgive us.
Emptiness in my life last week because we didn't record one. I was like dejected, very sad, very stressed, and I was just like, oh, what's going on? And then I was like, oh, it's just because I miss my friends. Anyway, what movie are we doing?
Or maybe you just really wanted to talk about the phenomenal 1987 mega hit, The Lost Boys.
Been waiting for that Lost Boys content.
I have a major lady boner for this movie.
Oh, who can blame you? Let's see. What was my very first note that I wrote for this? Immediately, everyone is so hot. Immediately, everyone is in a fight. And then later on, I said, I would let all these men kill me. So that kind of sets the tone for this movie.
Can co-sign that, but I support you.
Yeah,
I love all the 80s style, the fashion, the hair, best. But would I smash? Harder to say.
I
would smash.
Would do a vampire gangbang with all of them in this movie.
Wow,
like
starting off the episode.
Hi guys, welcome to Spooky Tuesday.
Hi guys, have you met Sydney? I mean,
yeah. I mean, Sydney, we can't be surprised. The first episode of the podcast, we revealed your blood kink, so it's on par.
Honestly,
that was my bad.
Hey, at least you know I'm consistent, okay?
Yeah,
but if you haven't seen this movie, according to IMDb, it is about after moving to a new town, 2 brothers discover the area is a haven for sexy vampires.
Oh, does it say sexy in there? See that on IMDb.
Okay,
no,
but
I'm looking directly at it. That's exactly.
I'm looking. It just plainly says sexy, sexy.
Even if it's not actually in there, it's what the director intended. Because if you read the IMDb trivia, there's like 3 different pieces of trivia where Joel Schumacher's like, I needed everybody to be hot. And I needed everyone to be sexy. So like that was so clearly his vibe. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, I know exactly which trivia you're talking about. They're going to make this movie like a Peter Pan type of thing, hence The Lost Boys. So it's all going to be children vampires. And then he was like, no, we got to age it up and sex it up right away. And I agree. I don't want to see a bunch of kids. I want to see a bunch of hot teens.
Well, but
hot teen vampire.
Even that aside, there's one piece of trivia that says, when asked why he did the film, Joel Schumacher simply stated, vampires are hot. They're the only erotic monsters. Frankenstein is not hot. Which, like, first of all, rude. Very hurtful to Frankenstein.
Frankenstein is also not hot.
The way that he emphasized it multiple times, when they were like setting up the prosthetics for the vampires in this movie, he was like, they still have to be sexy. These are sexy vampires, you guys. Like, this is he's the one that did Batman with the little nipples on the suit. You know what I mean? Like, this is his brand.
I am all about him.
But here's the thing too, without these sexy vampires, we wouldn't have gotten the sexy vampires in Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and that would have been a tragedy.
No, this was beautiful. They had that sweet spot of prosthetics when they change, where you're like, you're still super sexy, and I would still let all these men kill me, to quote myself, even though they look like a little spooky. And they have big bumpy brow bones, which I thought was a fun thing that vampires have, apparently. Everybody
here's the
knows about
quote.
the Cro-Magnon brow.
Here's the quote from IMDb. This is per the makeup designer. Don't know where this quote came from, but again, on the internet, must be right. Joel Schumacher said to me, "I've hired these sexy young kids, and I want them sexy. I don't want monsters." Like, very.
I want them sexy.
Yeah. He has the one quote where he's like, "Vampires are hot." And then he has this other quote like, "I want them sexy." Like, clearly, this is the bottom line of this film, is that
What's
it
the
is
point
sexy stuff.
of having
It's
all these
hot
sexy
stuff.
kids?
I do think there is one sexy mistake here that I think they made because they thought it would be more sexy, but they were wrong, which is that there is only one female vampire or half vampire or whatever in this film, and we don't ever get to see her vamp out. Like, we get to see literally every other vampire. And I think that was a mistake. And I think they probably did it so that she'd still be like pretty and likable or whatever. I think she'd be more pretty and she'd be more likable if they let her go full vampire.
I agree. They even let little fucking Laddie go full
Little
vamp,
Laddie?
but they don't let Star go. Come on.
Sexist.
Not fair.
Sexist.
It's blatant sexism.
It is.
It's
You guys,
sad to see.
I know that you're
Such
not
a
joking. It
beautiful
sounds
film
like you're
otherwise.
joking. I just want us to fully emphasize this is real.
I think
This
that
is misogyny
Joel
at work.
Schumacher has to go back to feminism school. It's
Yes.
pretty clear.
Lady vampires can be sexy too. Even
Lady
though
vampires
this
are the
is a gay
sexiest
film.
of vampires.
So
It's like he didn't even see the blood spattered bride.
a very
Do
sexy
your
vampire.
fucking homework if you're gonna do a vampire movie, okay? But like, it's hard. It's hard because I hadn't seen Blood Spattered Bride either. But also, I am not a person who's creating vampire films yet. I mean, I don't want to close any doors for myself, but like, if I
want that for
started
you.
to now, I'd be prepared because I've seen the fucking, magnum opus of the whole thing. The
You've
source
done your
text,
homework.
if you will, Yeah. come on.
Twilight?
I've seen Twilight as well many times, so I've got the full spectrum. Yeah, and I love Twilight like a lot. Sydney and I love it a lot. Chelsea, I don't know how you love it a lot, maybe in a more sarcastic way, or
Yeah, not in the same way that you do, but I do.
No. Monica
Yeah.
and I love it like we actually love it. It is a perfect film. Never forget the time Monica called Bella Swan Bella Thorne while we were watching.
That was a low point for me. I don't appreciate you bringing it back up.
I'll never let you forget it.
But like, incredible films, beautiful soundtracks, but too pretty. Enough even this movie did it better.
Well, they're more scary. But speaking of Twilight, these vampires have glitter blood.
Oh, yes. I should have seen where that was going.
Yes.
Like, oh my God,
a
80s
highlight of
glitter
the film.
vampires. I love it.
Also, of all of the vampires for that to come out of, like Marco, I think that's his name. He definitely was the most flamboyant of all of them. He was wearing colorful, like military style clothes a lot of the time. Very exciting. Also, isn't that the guy from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Yes.
Yeah. So I haven't seen that movie, so I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. But
oh my God, Monica, you got to see Bill and Ted. And his like really sexy, like curly blonde mullet.
Okay. I could talk for 2 hours about the hair in this movie.
You want to know what I could talk 2 hours about easily? The saxophone guy.
Oh yeah. The oiled up sax
Where is
guy.
he now? He was wearing a necklace made out of chain. It was gorgeous.
He was Whitney Houston's saxophone player. He was like some
Whoa.
like divas,
Mm.
like major divas saxophone player, and did this because of course you needed a like 5-minute sax solo where he's like oiled up in spandex, like sexily playing.
How else would they have
Yes.
set the scene for Michael to first glimpse star and fall instantly in love? You know what I mean? You had to have a sexy, oiled up saxophone guy.
Michael is the older of the two brothers that moved to the sexy vampire haven town. If you didn't know,
You guys
Yeah,
haven't
in
seen
case
this
you
movie.
didn't know. In case you didn't know. Also, how else would they have set up the fact that Sam, our little baby Sam, is big gay if not for this scene where he is just dying over sexy sax man? And let me tell you right now, this man, his name is Timmy Capello, and he's an American multi-instrumentalist, composer, and vocalist. And
Ooh.
he was
Wow.
known primarily for his saxophone work supporting Tina Turner in the 1980s and 90s, as well as his
Okay.
musical performance in the 1987 vampire film The Lost Boys. So
Okay.
There you
For
go.
which IMDb says his cameo is surprisingly memorable. I don't think it's surprising at all that it was
there's no
memorable.
surprise.
But it
No.
says he even has his own fan page, presumably about this moment, because in general would be like, of course he does. He's got all of these talents, and he worked with Tina Turner. But I'm hoping that somewhere out there is like a sexy sax guy from the Lost Boys fan page.
Well,
I bet
I'm
there's
going.
like 5 on Facebook right now.
Well, I'll let
Probably.
you know right now that I'm just Googled, sexy sax man from the Lost Boys. First was that thing I just read to you. Second was an article from sci-fi.com. If you still believe, the Lost Boys sexy sax man finally drops first solo album, Blood on the Reed.
Oh,
Wow.
we're
This
ready.
came out in 2018. So
Wow.
he's still active to this day. I will find him. Concerts are coming back. Let's go. I
We
bet he
will be
still looks
sharing
good
his
oiled up
music
50
on
years
social
later.
media.
Will
Yeah.
he be wearing the giant cod piece that he wears in this movie?
He better. Oh my God, he's been in quite a few things. All right, we're going to do, oh my, you guys.
Share. Say more.
The album cover for Blood on the Reed is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my entire fucking life.
I'm Googling
He
it.
is literally, it looks as though he is wearing red latex everything. This came out in 2018. Let us remind you. And the movie came out in 1987. He has the same hair, slicked back, long ponytail, low pony. And he's wearing a black chain necklace with the same chains hanging down.
And wearing the cod piece.
And wearing the cod piece and a little chain belt.
And he's oiled.
And he's
This is
oiled.
perfect.
And he's just as ripped as he was in 87. Honestly, sign me up for the fan club. Where is it? Where's what do I
Alright,
need
guys.
to do?
This is now a Tim Capello.
Timmy Capello, I love you. Man, let's do a whole episode on him.
Anyways, The Lost Boys is over. This is now all about that album. We're just gonna do a live listen.
We're gonna do live listen. And I'll just somehow describe to you what this music sounds like because we can't play it because of copyright infringement.
We could play like a 10-second clip of each song, maybe.
Let me listen to it 20 times and then I'll sing all the sax riffs for you. I think that would be
Beautiful.
good. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, fine. We'll stop talking about him, but I'm going to think about him the whole time.
Okay, that's
but in
fair, I
case,
think.
you've not seen this movie, which, like, honestly, we say this every other episode, but stop the recording up and go and watch it and then come back and listen to the episode because I don't want to spoil a single second of this for you. You need to see it firsthand. It's incredible. And if you get scared, it's not that scary. So you can handle it. It's going to be okay. But it's one of those classic new kids in town kind of stories with little Michael and Sam coming to, what is it, Santa Carla? Is that the
Yeah,
name
Santa
of the
Carla.
city?
It's supposed
Santa
to be
Carla.
Santa Cruz in California, but Santa Cruz, also back in the 80s known as the murder capital of the world at the time, didn't want people to know that outside of the city. And so they were like, you cannot use our real name, but you can film here.
People are gonna put two and two together. I guess they didn't have Google back then, but like you can ask around town, where is this filmed?
Where is this?
What's interesting though, this was my first time watching the film, and when I opened it, my first notes were actually the opening at the pier, just like in Us. And then I remembered this is one of the movies that's like directly referenced in Us, which is they're in Santa Cruz at the pier, and then they're like, oh, there's a movie filming right over by the Ferris wheel or whatever. Like they say like the Lost Boys is filming here right now. They don't say it exactly like that. They say it like how I said the first time, but you get it.
We're
Oh,
picking
I
up what
didn't
you're
put
putting
that
down.
together.
You get it,
Yeah.
yeah.
This movie was crazy influential. I mean, everybody's doing 80s callbacks these days. It's coming around the bend, but like Adam actually pointed this out. I'll give him credit for the idea. I did tell him I would steal it, but you know, he had a good idea. We were rewatching it just before recording, and he looked at Michael's character and he was like, Michael looks exactly like that sexy lifeguard guy in season 3 of Stranger Things, aka Dacker Montgomery
Oh.
or whatever. I can't remember his
Yeah,
character.
yeah.
Billy, but it's so true. He's 100%. They definitely drew inspiration for the hair, for all of it from Michael or any one of the other vampires too. But I feel like more Michael because it got the oh my god, I couldn't think of the PC term for tank top. There we go. I could only think of the bad name. I was like, there's another name. There's another name. And oh my god, also the earring. We'll talk about
the earring was good.
The earring. All the earrings were very good. I love a man with an earring. I think I love a pirate kind of thing. I think that's the underlying thing.
At that
Monica
for you.
just wants to be swashbuckled, you know?
Yeah. I've got a thing for, I got a Tarzan thing and I got a pirate thing. That's who I am. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Sort of related. Dirty long hair.
Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't shower.
That's
long
all I
hair.
really have.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
to
like
connect
it
them, I
when men
guess.
are clean. I do like a clean man. I think I like long-haired men because they look more like women. I think I like men with earrings because they look more like women. That's kind of like the vibe. But yeah, that's the thing for me. Tarzan doesn't look like a woman. He's just Tarzan. Oh,
It's just Tarzan, babe.
Okay, but is it Disney's Tarzan or like Brandon Fraser Tarzan?
Oh, I will do both.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah. I'm good with either. Yeah. Haven't seen the live action, so can't comment on that one, but
He's also George of the Jungle.
yeah, George of the Jungle, very down. He's silly, love that. Anyway, there's this movie we're talking about, and it's called
Have you heard of it? Have we mentioned it?
Yeah, haven't you mentioned it yet?
but okay, I have to say that I do love their mom. What's her name? Lucy?
Lucy.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Played by
Lucy.
the Diane Weiss.
She
An
is
icon.
such a cutie and icon as well, but damn, she has bad taste.
But do you know what else she was in that I believe I have mentioned on this podcast before, and I have yet to peer pressure you guys into actually watching? The 10th
What?
Kingdom. The 10th Kingdom. One day I'm gonna get ya. One day I'm gonna get ya.
You need to be more like fervent about this desire because I don't remember those words ever being uttered in that.
Sure.
I have
order
no
before.
idea what this is.
It is like 10 hours long, so it's harder
Oh,
to, yeah.
maybe I blocked out the memory because it's 10 hours long.
Have a whole day blocked out. It's a little more groundwork than just one normal movie.
Okay, well, I'll
Right,
consider
but so
it.
so Michael, who is an elder teenager, Sam, who is like early teens, he's supposed to be what, like 14 or 15, and then
Teen.
Lucy, he's a full teen at this
Okay,
point.
fine. It's a whole teen.
And then Lucy, the mom, moved to Santa Carla to go live with her, kooky father who has my dream house, TBBH. Literally my
Incredible.
dream house.
Yeah.
It is fantastic because she's just gotten a divorce and they've moved up from Phoenix.
This is an
Mr.
upgrade.
Phoenix himself is in this movie.
Ooh.
Mr. Phoenix himself is Sam. That's the other Corey calls him that at one point. You can cut that.
Yes. Well, this is the first movie where the Coreys met and worked with each other because Corey Feldman was already kind of established because he'd done Stand By Me with Kiefer Sutherland, who's also in this movie, and Little Baby
Shocking
River
that that's
Phoenix.
Kiefer.
And there was like this rivalry between them because Corey Feldman was getting picked on that there was a new Corey in town.
Oh.
And
that's
so they kind
interesting,
of
'cause-
had like a little Corey beef, and then they got to work together on this. And then this movie, they became the Coreys.
BFFs forevs. That's double
So cute.
forevs if you know what BFF stands for.
Wow. That's true love. That's true love. It's that shared name love. Can't relate. When I meet anyone with the same name as me, I'm immediately threatened and I don't want them around me. But I'm glad that they could move past that and become the best of friends.
In the opening scene, though, when we see the boardwalk and like see all this stuff, Joel Schumacher, the director, like actively wanted like all the freaks, all the weirdos. They're like, if you have a look, if you are a little bit scary, like please come down. We want to film you. And because this was like based off realized Santa Cruz, I read somewhere that like everybody thought that that's just kind of what the boardwalk always looked like at all times.
Oh,
Like,
I wish it did.
Is it not?
It's
I've
not-
never been, and I was not alive in 1987, so I have no firsthand experience.
Come on,
if
Sydney. We
that's what
expect
it
you
looks like.
to bring this knowledge to the episode.
I'm sorry.
I feel your spirit was very much present in 1987.
I mean, it definitely was, but my physical body was not alive.
Sure.
Yeah.
But
I didn't show
spiritually,
up
you
for
were one of the freaks
3
on the
years.
boardwalk.
Oh, 100%. Like somebody was holding like a little iguana. That was me.
I really like the
She
rat lady.
Licked it. She licked the rat.
Yeah. I one time went to a music festival and a lady was like, "You want to meet my pet?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she reached her hands into her white woman dreads. That was the first red flag.
I hate
And
this story.
pulled a rat out of her hair and then gave it to me and it crawled all over me. Anyway, I really felt that memory when I saw that part of this film.
I need to move on. I need to move on.
But okay, we skip right past this, but like the grandpa is the greatest man and I am obsessed with him. Throughout this movie, he's absolutely iconic and like I didn't understand at first that he is a hobbyist taxidermy man.
Mhm.
That's just what he does in his free time.
My dream.
Sydney's dream. And as a connoisseur of taxidermy myself, little Sam was so upset every night when his grandpa would bring him a new taxidermy to sit next to his bed, and I was like, "You should be counting your blessings, Sam. That's a beautifully done taxidermy of a beaver, an owl. He had a whole closet full of them. This is a dream. I wish that I had
You know
this.
how
taxidermy
expensive
grandpa.
taxidermied animals are, Samuel.
Come on,
Where is
Samuel.
he
I
getting
paid
all these
40 bucks
corpses
for just a
from,
little
though?
chicken."
Where are all these animal corpses coming from? That's what I want to know.
I mean,
That's
he
a
lives
question
on,
that
like, a
I
little
have.
farm.
It's the circle of life, Chelsea. Things die all the time.
Okay.
And also, I
Thank
guess he
you.
gets commissions because the old widow down the road commissioned him
Widow
to
Johnson.
taxidermy. Widow Johnson.
Well, Johnson.
'Cause the like apparently about town widow Johnson commissioned him to taxidermy her dog, which was a fun little disturbing ad.
Wait, is that what happened?
Yes, that was a little dog.
I saw that it was a little dog, but I assumed, I guess, that he saw the dog and was just like, You know who would love this? Widow Johnson.
Okay, that's way more fucked up. You see a dead dog on the side of the road, and I'm like, I'm gonna give it to that lady who's widowed down the road to try
It
to.
was cute.
Yeah, it was an adorable dog.
Very cute, but I feel like taxidermy of like, like waterfowl or like a deer or something is super common in the home, but like
Sure.
of a dog that is not a dog that was a treasured family member of the family for years and years, that takes it to a level that is a bit more upsetting. But anyway, we're talking about this movie called The Lost Boys, actually.
Right.
And
We actually had something taxidermy related to say before we did our tangent.
okay, what is it?
Which is we selected this movie as one of our Pride movies. You could certainly argue that it is the least like canonically queer because nobody says anything that confirms anything. But I would like to point out that when he gets the beaver, he immediately rejects it and puts it in the closet where
Oh,
it
and
is
that
part
is
of the metaphor, you
and
know?
so that's Sam. And that is the moment where we see he has the young Rob Lowe poster
Yes.
in his closet when he's stuffing the
says-
beaver in the closet.
He
Beavers,
rejects the
not
beaver
for
and
me.
reveals the sexy Rob Lowe. I mean, that is his coming out. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Beavers are not for me. Beavers belong in the closet. The closet door is firmly shut with me on the other side of it, so that I can look at sexy young Rob Lowe.
The symbolism is dripping, it's so palpable.
All of the people that were like, no, like the director just did St. Elmo's Fire. And so this was his nod to Rob Lowe. Wrong. Just bullshit. Wrong.
It's gay.
Like,
It's
gay.
gay. Okay.
Here's the thing, too.
It's
Like,
gay.
this movie is so gay. I mean, even though it is not canonically gay, it is the gayest movie we have watched so far for Pride Month. It is gay.
Okay.
One, the 80s, gay. Like
Gay.
the decade, just gay.
Gay.
That's true. That's compelling.
Like
It's true. Yeah.
incredibly gay.
All their sexy
man,
vampire outfits, gay.
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 The mullets, gay.
Gay.
The incredible sexual tension between Michael and the head vampire David, palpable, gay. And it's like, sure, the only female star is there, but she is a red herring. She is not the main love
She's
interest.
a beard. She's a beard.
Yeah, she is the
She's
beard.
a beard. And we love her. And also, it can't go without saying, Sam's long cloak is the gayest thing I have ever seen. Did you see that? He's wearing a rainbow shirt. It's beautiful. It's very 80s and fantastic. And you think he's just wearing a cool guy, like white and gray coat, right? And then they show him from the back when he's in the comic store, and it is floor length, baby. It's floor length, and the fucking collar is popped. It's the gayest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was incredible. I want it. I will be
Here's the
searching
thing,
eBay
too.
tonight for it.
Sam also wears a Born to Shop t-shirt in this movie as well. And if that isn't gay, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I mean,
And he's
I
also
didn't
wearing a
write down-
bathrobe.
This movie
Yeah.
had
Men
a lot
can
of
wear
great
bathrobes and not be gay. I will say
But-
that.
But with his
You can
Born
do anything
to
and not
Shop
be gay. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
t-shirt, gay.
Anyway, I didn't write down a lot of quotes for this movie. There are a lot of really amazing ones, but I did write down the exchange about Sam's fashion in the comic book store, which is the other Corey and the other boy Jameson is the actor's name. Oh, the Frog Brothers.
Yes.
They are following Sam around and he's like, got a problem, guys? And they go, just scoping your civilian wardrobe. And he goes, pretty cool, huh? And they go, for a fashion victim. And he says, And then the other one says, listen, buddy, if you're looking for the diet frozen yogurt bar, it went out of business last summer. Which, first of all, I feel like clocking somebody as going to the diet frozen yogurt bar is a little bit gay. But I also feel like diet frozen yogurt redundant.
I was like, this
In
whole
the 80s,
conversation was homophobic. They were being homophobic.
Well, here's the thing too.
Blatantly.
Okay, but did the Frog Brothers not read as very like alt-right QAnon vibes in this, where they're like, we're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way, and they're trying to kill all the vampires, which represent homosexuals. So like they are definitely alt-right.
Shit.
How they read to me is like those guys who like took over the government compound, but then during the Black Lives Matter movement last summer were like, yeah, we're also saying fuck the police, so we're team you guys on this one, because they had a common enemy.
Dark, very dark, very dark.
That's the vibe that I get, you know. Sometimes
dark.
you've got a common enemy, and it just means that you get over anything you don't have in common, which in this case was their homophobia. They just moved right past it to be anti-vampire instead, which is also homophobic, but on a more subtextual level.
Yeah. It's a lot to unpack here, Jesus.
You know, we skated around talking about the movie, and all of a sudden we're like, let's talk about this movie.
No, we're going to themes.
But let's get to the vampire of it all, actually.
Mhm.
Because we enter into this movie on the boardwalk, and like we said, we have that sexy sax man scene, but that also is laying the groundwork for Michael and Star to like lock eyes across the boardwalk and somehow fall instantly in love, because God knows they never really had any dialogue in this movie.
No.
And they had no chemistry.
Again,
Also,
yay.
Star is like looking around. Yeah, Michael's super fucking hot. Okay. And then like she gives him an earring later, and that really seals the deal that he's super hot. But when he's staring at her with this like terrifying, vacant, almost glare, like this resting bitch face.
Yeah.
I was just like, not hot, scary. If I saw a man, no matter how hot he was, glaring at me from across the Sexy Sax Man show, I would be upset.
Yeah, I wrote it in my notes. Oh, he is staring. And then even like 5 seconds later, Sam is fully like, you are stalking her.
Yeah.
And it is going too far.
Sam is like, hold up, slow up. Listen to your child brother. He has obviously got more game than you, Michael.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, nothing sucks more than stalking a woman all night long, and then you see her ride off with a man on a motorcycle who has the worst beard I've ever seen. I'm sorry. David is so hot. Kiefer Sutherland, I cannot deal with the fact that that's Kiefer Sutherland. It just doesn't really work for me. Like, as someone who didn't watch 24, like I don't have this like love for him. So it's just like he's not hot in my book, but he's so hot in this. But the beard just shouldn't have been a part of it at all at any time. I'm sorry.
Here's the thing.
Beard.
I know everybody's supposed to root for Michael and Star. They, like I've said this 800 times, they had no chemistry, and Michael and David had all of the chemistry in the world.
If someone said my name as many times as David said my name, and in that way, it just would be over. It's like, what do? You can't say no.
No.
There is an IMDb trivia piece that's like, the name Michael was said 118 times in this film.
Yeah, that's most of the dialogue, especially for the other vampires besides David. They pretty much only get to say Michael the whole time.
This movie is not even 118 minutes long.
How many Michaels per minute is that?
Not 2, but more than 1.
Like 1.5 Michaels per minute this entire movie.
Yeah, I always write in my notes when I feel like something has particularly gay vibes. I to be honest, I only wrote it a couple of times this movie, but one of them was when David said, "I like you, Michael," or whatever he said there, and I wrote, "That's gay." And then 1 second later, he was like, "My blood is in your veins," and I was like, "That's gay." There's just it's really, really real between them, and nobody else has it quite like they do.
The passion is there.
You only like really wrote like this is gay twice. Cause like I have so many times where I'm like gay. When Michael buys a leather jacket after seeing like Star go off, I'm like, Michael is buying a leather jacket. Does he want to be David or does he want to be with David? Gay.
Ooh. I only
Oh.
noticed that on the second watch today. I was like, damn, that's gay.
David saying, you don't have to beat me, you just have to keep up. Gay.
Gay. Oh my God.
Okay. All right.
The whole motorcycle chase scene just was the like most sexually charged gay thing ever. The motorcycles are like phallic by nature for me. I don't know how. It was something with that.
Sure.
Okay, I have to say this right now, but motorcycles, it is clear to me, are a gateway drug to vampirism because like Michael already had the motorcycle and then he goes on one speedy ride and then boom, he's a vampire. Think about it. Think about it, okay? My roommate, James, is considering getting a motorcycle, and I have to tell him every day, you better not, because you know what happens next.
Vampire. Say it.
Vampire.
Dangerous.
Tell me what I
It's out
am.
Also,
there.
it's really dangerous. It makes me
Vampire.
nervous.
Bella gets a motorcycle. You know what happens to her later in the series.
Oh my
Vampire.
God. It's just true.
It all
It's
comes
just-
back to Twilight.
Oh, another super gay thing that I can't believe that you didn't immediately clock as gay was after Michael drinks the blood that he thinks is wine, even though Star explicitly tells him, don't drink it,
it's
it's
blood."
blood.
He's been gaslit so much about the Chinese food, okay? He doesn't believe anyone anymore.
I know. But they show like a montage of like slowly, and Michael's face looks like he's receiving a blowjob. Gay.
Oh. See, interesting. I was very distracted by Jim Morrison just staring into my stole from the poster.
Oh my God, he
Montage
looks-
so prominently featured.
Also, Michael looks so much like Jim Morrison. It's like crazy. I mean, that was on purpose, obviously, but I was like, are they brothers?
The true vampire.
Is that what I'm supposed to be gleaning from this? But yeah, okay. The whole like making him into a vampire evening was so well done. Also, just gotta put props to the whole set design for the sunken house on the cliff somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Structurally, how I don't understand. An earthquake, I guess. They explain it, but I still didn't get it. Incredible.
Obsessed.
Immaculate.
Amazing.
Beautiful. The Victorian bed that perfectly came down and fell into the hole just so Star and Michael could fuck on it. Thank you. Good.
So maybe Michael isn't fully gay and Michael is bisexual.
Bisexual kid.
That works for me because like the moment I didn't notice this the first time either when Star's like he's okay, this whole scene was weird. Michael goes up and is like so close to a stranger who's getting their ears pierced on the pier. Like he's like his face is like almost on her face. I'm like, that is a stranger. What is your deal, sir? And Star comes up and is like, it's a rip off. I can pierce your ear for you. And then after they fuck, she does pierce his ear. Like that was everything to me. Like it wasn't real until he had the earring. I didn't notice that he didn't have it the whole time. And then I was like, no, he only got it after the coitus. Oh my God.
Wait, did he get it or did he get it before that? I thought.
No.
I wrote in my notes, it was when right after he woke up the first time after the turning night, which is
Did he
before
have
they
it
fucked, I
then?
think. Yeah.
Then? No.
Yeah.
Okay, well then it can be a gay thing and David did it for him. I think Star did it for him though.
I still think
said
Star
that.
did it. And I think it's just a little foreplay. You know what
That's
I mean?
a little
It's still
foreplay.
related
Let me
to
give
their
you a poke
love
before we
making.
do the poke. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh. Ooh. Hey.
Sorry I put it that way.
No, I liked it.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, that was very notable to me that suddenly he had the earring, and I made that was all capitals in my notes.
The earring was everything. Also, like the amount of peer pressure that Michael accepts into his life in this one short evening is just preposterous. If all the boys jump off the bridge, are you going to jump too? Yes, the answer is yes, apparently. Jesus Christ, Michael. But I did like the forever fall in the mist. That was it was worth it.
What I loved about that is that he's like, ah, and then he stops. And then he does another, ah, like, but there's like a long pause in there.
He's
like, why haven't I died yet?
Time. Speaking
of time, what is the time passage in this movie? Like, I could
it's
never
very unclear.
Right? I could never get a full time thing, because it's like, how long have they been, in Santa Clara before he sees Star? And then how long was it when he got the leather jacket, and how long was it all of this stuff? And then it's like he gets turned into a vampire, and then we get a scene where he's interacting with his mom, and she's like, Michael, you just have been outrageous recently. I don't know. And we're just like, this happened last night. How could he have been out all the time? What is happening? What is
3 days?
Time? What is the time frame of this movie? Because to us, it's like, oh, this all happened immediately as soon. It's been back to back nonstop action.
If you think about it, I think maybe the taxidermy will help us see the passage of time. If you think about it, it's like a sundial. If you think that he's creating these pieces for Sam every single day. But
that's true. He does open the closet at one point, and there's 11 in there. So at least 11 days have passed.
Which is a lot longer than I thought the timeline was for that. I was like 5 days. 5 days. I feel like it goes by I feel like it has to be super speedy because it shows how stupid everybody is. Michael's stalking everyone, changing his whole look in 5 seconds after getting there. It makes what's his real name? Richard Gilmore. What's his name in this movie? Max. Makes Max seem extra creepy because he's like, our date didn't work tonight, but what about tomorrow night and the night after that and the night after that and the night after that? It's like, you've been my employee for 1 day. I'm going to take you on many dates now. Is that fine? No, it's not. Richard Gilmore, please calm down. But I like to think it's a very speedy film. Shit hits the fan in 1 week in Santa Carla. That's all you need.
I'm on board with a timeline. Honestly, things are really intense between everyone. It feels right to me that things would just hit you like a train and then keep on going,
So time basically just doesn't exist in this movie. So we'll never know exactly how long it actually takes, how many days in between before Michael is turned as a vampire until Sam finally figures it out. And what is the quote where Sam is like, you're a filthy blood sucker. You're a creature of the night, Michael. I'm going to tell mom, or something like that.
Oh my God. That entire scene was so good.
Corey Haim is Haim,
I think.
I think it's Haim.
Once again, nobody count on us for anybody's name. I will say Nev Campbell. Wait, is Nev right?
Nev is right.
No longer trust myself. Whichever one is well, now I can't be relied upon.
I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well, I just said Nev with my whole chest, so maybe I am learning. But okay.
Sam Corey and not Frog Corey is so good in this movie, and he's only 13 years old.
He's just so precious. That whole scene in the bathtub where he's singing his little song and having a little jam in his bubble bath. I was like, that's so fun for you.
Taking a bubble bath.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Jesus Christ, Sydney.
What is that from?
Big Mouth.
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
It's a Netflix show, and they have the hormone monsters, and Maya Rudolph does the voice of one of the hormone monsters, and she goes,
yeah,
bubble bear, with her,
oh
with
my God.
her mouth like that.
I thought you said beak mouth, and I was like, what's this bird show I haven't heard of? I love birds. Anyway, I love Big Mouth. I've seen that. It's a
Yeah,
bear.
I don't watch that show, but that quote did stick in my brain.
It's a good one.
But yeah, I mean, I thought when Michael said to Sam, "Go take your bath," he was like kind of being a dick, and I was like, he's a new vampire, you know what I mean? He's cranky. And then Sam did take this really wonderful looking bath, and I just loved that for him.
I aspire to that. I never have fun in the bath. I've cut the bath out of my life because it's not fun. But if I play that song maybe and have way too many bubbles and have Nanook around, it seems like it's a recipe for success.
Okay, I just have to say about that scene, I was very afraid for Sam at first. And I was like, Michael, do not eat your brother. And then Nanook started growling, and I was like, Michael, do not eat your dog. And I got like 1,000 times more protective and mad. And I was very upset. And I am very, very grateful that Nanook made it to the end of the movie.
Oh, and Nanook was like scary as hell. This dog acted its ass off in this scene.
Chops. Oscar. He got.
What is the name of the dog that played Nanook? Do we know? Is it on? The dog's name is Cody.
Oh, Cody.
Yeah. This is a Timmy.
You thought it wouldn't be on IMDb. How dare you?
But yeah, I mean, that whole reveal of Michael being a vampire to Sam is like so fucking funny. The quote that you were looking for, Sydney, is this. Sam says, "Look at your reflection in the mirror. You're a creature of the night, Michael, just like out of a comic book. You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother, a goddamn shit-sucking vampire. You wait till mom finds out, buddy."
Great quote. Excellent quote. And at first I was like, damn, he sure subscribed to this vampire belief system fast as fuck. But then I was like, I think a transparent reflection would be pretty compelling. Pretty compelling evidence.
Very, very compelling. Also, incredible visual effects in that moment.
Especially for 1987.
I also have to say, when he went to tell the Frog Brothers about it, and they were like going down their checklist, like, does he this? Does he this? I did love when Sam was like, but he always had bad breath. I thought that was great little brother bullshit.
I also love at one point, Corey, I'm not sure, Corey Frog, I can't remember his name.
Feldman.
No, I know,
Feldman.
but I know that, but I didn't remember his name in the it's either Edgar or Alan.
He's
Edgar or
Edgar.
Alan. Edgar, okay. Edgar is like, stake your brother, Sam, stake your brother, Sam, you'll feel better. I was like, iconic. I also
Amazing.
love like just his voice in general throughout the film. Like, so cool guy. I love it. It's incredible.
Right. It's like he's smoked like a pack a day for like 70 years and he's 14.
Per IMDb, Joel Schumacher told them to be like action stars, like very Sylvester Stallone,
Rambo.
Chuck Norris,
Mhm.
and it absolutely shows. Absolutely shows. Especially his little bandana across his head. Yeah. That whole uniform plagiarized.
Oh man.
So an homage is what they call it in film terms.
Kind of like a clear reference.
In modern times, we say
we haven't had a clear reference in a while. I don't know why I just went so high pitched like that.
I like it. You got range, honey.
Thanks.
Okay, so the other great vampire reveal moment of this movie is when Michael gets told about what he's really about. David and Du Bois take him to a beautiful beachside tree to observe what seems to be a lovely bonfire, which really made me want to do a bonfire, but like not with this outcome probably, because this is when we first get to see all the bumpy eyebrows, everybody with their big giant glass, apparently is it glass, their eye color things, their contacts, that's what
the contacts.
The contacts were like freaking huge apparently, and everyone had a horrible time with them, but they look great, and that's what matters.
That's all that matters, the aesthetics.
I have to say though, I know, Sydney, that you love this movie for many reasons, but I'm sure the carnage of the bonfire is a huge part of that, right?
Listen, a big bloody murder orgy, of course I'm down for it. It's the best scene.
So many good moments, so much blood. Now
And
I'm
they're
gonna look
murdering
at.
the surf Nazis.
Oh Jesus! What?
Which is not something that is explicitly explained in the movie, but in the novelization, apparently they get a lot more into it and they build up that rivalry and that lore.
Yeah, but they do call them surf Nazis.
Oh,
So that's like a
Jesus.
name
So that's
in
why they're
the movie.
okay. Well, that
Sure.
makes adds a lot more gravitas to the moment when I think it's David bites into someone's bald head. I guess they're biting into a skinhead's head, and so that's a whole different type of vibe. That was a beautiful thing. I'm not going to look at a bald head the same way ever again. I'm always going to be like trying to bite it.
Do you know what's very interesting though? Is that I completely missed in the movie when they called them surf Nazis, but now that you're bringing up that they said it in that scene and that they were like, look, a skinhead will eat him. That was the same scene where they said something about Star and how she belongs to David, and I wrote in my notes, the Star of David, Jewish.
Yo, the
Something's
symbolism.
happening here. Something's happening here.
Something we have stumbled upon something.
Something's happening
This is
here.
above my pay grade.
Okay, but if we get like a cease and desist letter from Hollywood, we've
We've,
made it, baby.
We've uncovered the truth. Fuck. This is now a
did?
true crime
Okay.
podcast.
But that this
We
movie would be
did?
pro-Jewish then. They
Yeah.
well,
Oh yeah.
I guess they're the vampires are bad, but I don't know that means that the surf Nazis are good.
And they get got, and
I-
that's what matters, right?
I think anybody
Yes.
called a Nazi probably bad.
You know, we did
Gotta
get
be.
invited to the Illuminati this past week, so maybe
Oh
this
my
is
God.
why.
I should like do a reading of that message because that shit was fucking insane. Like, it's amazing.
Do you think they'll have T-shirts?
They must. They have
I
to have
want
a
merch.
big budget.
One thing that I don't think our baby boys, the Frog Brothers, and Sam fully thought through is, hey guys, let's just like fully go into a den of vampires. They did it during the day, so at least they put like a woo of, you know, thought into it. But then they're like, which one do we have to kill first? And they're just like standing around instead of like all three of them attacking one vampire. All three of them should have been attacking individual vampires
Yeah.
to like do, because like once one of them wakes up, you fucked.
You're fucked. They're
Yeah.
You fuckity
They're-
fucked.
eternal
frankly,
beasts. And they were
Edgar
talking really
Frog.
loud, like right
Yeah.
next to them asleep.
They're super shouty. Edgar Frog has that quote later on where he says, I think I should warn you all, when a vampire bites it, it's never a pretty sight. No two bloodsuckers go the same way. Some yell and scream, some go quietly, some explode, some implode, but all will try to take you with them. They just completely forgot that when they were like, we're gonna go one vampire at a time, and we'll just hope that he's the one that's quiet.
Wyatt? Absolutely not.
Bad strategy. Bad strategy.
Terrible strat. Just embarrassing. They
But
are
so-
children, but still, there's no excuse.
They are children, but they are also experts, apparently.
And we did establish they're actually teens, so they should know better.
Yes, they're young adults.
I did start to question their expertise, though, at the dinner scene with Richard Gilmore when he comes over and they think he might be the head vampire. And okay, there's no way.
Yeah,
but
I was
then
like,
they
this
started
is
doing all
dumb.
there's no way, this is dumb. I was like, this is obviously misdirection. And they start doing all of their little tests, and it's like the garlic does nothing, and like he has a reflection and blah blah blah. And so I was like, these children just the comic books are not as accurate as they thought. It turns out they really only know things from comics, and they've got to adapt to the real vampire rules around them, which, as it turns out, is a little bit true. They're missing some important caveats here.
Some key factors. I was just like, I love these antics, but also let's let Lucy live and let her get hurt. It's okay.
I will say though, something that I did think was very funny is that he like makes Michael invite him in. And I was like, vampire proof. And then I was like, but this is obviously misdirection. This is obviously not real. This is just to trick us so that we think maybe he's a vampire.
This
Oops.
movie is a mind fuck, you know?
Oops.
They just really, they misdirect you with the fake misdirection. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I love this part of the movie where like they're like, it's Max. What if it's Max? And then they're like, oh no, it can't be Max. Oh my God, but it is Max.
But it is. But it is. I was also willing to accept some other explanations. You know what I mean? They had, when we get to the scenes at the end when the vampires are all attacking the house and the boys are fighting back, they do like throw garlic at that one Paul, I believe it is, upstairs with the bathtub, and Paul's like, garlic doesn't do anything. And so I was like, so maybe Max could be a vampire because he ate the garlic and it was fine. And then I figured, you know, the only reflection that really is a plot point other than Richard Gilmore is Michael, and he's a half vampire. So I was like, maybe full vampires are different. We don't know. The head vampire could be different. But then they were just like, turns out that inviting you in thing means all bets are off, baby.
And then that's why I was like, how the fuck did all these vampires get into the house at the end? Like, they all just burst the fuck in. And then, I mean, they weren't invited in, obviously. So all of the anti-vamp things worked really too well in some places. So I was like, logical fallacy here, but we're going to let it slide because this movie is perfection. But yeah, I have to say, in the whole final act, which is absolutely stunning. Okay, really quick. Let's not forget. Let's just give it its shine one more time because it's literally shiny. Marco's glitter blood. I love that. That wasn't intended to be a gay thing, and it was just intended to make the blood shiny. That's what IMDb said, or something like that. And I was like, no. That would never work. No.
Yay.
But still gotta happen. It's fantastic. I hope when I bleed glitter blood in the future. That's what I aspire to. But in the best death, there's so many deaths that happen, but the first one in the house is the bathtub scene with the Frog Brothers. And just like when something is done well, it's done really well. This gave me Nightmare on Elm Street vibes. Also, just like reminded me of Breaking Bad with the bathtub, that whole scene with the body. You know what I'm talking about? I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. Yeah.
Well, that's very early on, you know.
Okay, I'd hope that our listeners have seen Breaking Bad. My God.
I've never seen Breaking Bad.
Sydney, you should watch it. James is watching it for the first time right now.
I watched a couple episodes of the first season and I was like, hate this. And then everybody's like, no, you gotta watch season 2. And I'm like, that's not how I watch television, baby. So nope.
I'm out.
I'm out. Goodbye.
I love how much of this podcast is us shaming each other for things we have or haven't seen.
It's a friendship.
I mean, what
happens regularly. Usually Monica gets shamed. Sometimes I get shamed. I feel like maybe this is the first time you got shamed, which is nice.
No, I get shamed a lot for not seeing new horror movies all the time.
No, I do it.
Sure,
I'm the one who does
that's
it.
true.
So that does
happen. Yeah. Like, no, that's a thing.
No, I'll own up to
just feel there's like a baseline expectation at this point that you haven't seen new movies, so it's never like a you haven't seen this, like when I yell at Monica about things that I just assume that she has seen.
But okay, to back it up like a second though, the maybe funniest scene of this entire movie is when the Frog Brothers plus Sam burst into that church to get the holy water and interrupt that fucking baby blessing. What's that called? Baptism, baby blessing, same thing.
Baby blessing.
That is a very apt description, frankly.
Just iconic. They're just like, and I think it's Alan as they're leaving, like gives them a like finger gun, like thanks guys. Cool, smooth that over, totally fine. But it was worth it to get that much fucking holy water. I mean, the idea of a squirt gun full of holy water is also just like a beautiful concept, like stunningly created, just wonderful all around, and it works really well.
Should we all get squirt guns full of holy water, like just in case?
No, yeah, I just got 2 more squirt guns that I used to keep at my desk at my old job. And so they're now in my home, and so I am prepared, and I will share one of them with you. There are 3 actually.
Me.
There are 3, so I can ship you one, but I'm pretty sure you can find one in Alabama.
I guess.
I don't know. I just feel like the holy water and a squirt gun thing really became a huge meme that everybody loved during the pandemic. I think that
Also for baby blessings.
yes, for baby blessings
Oh my
specifically.
God, I forgot about that.
And I think if we brought it back for vampires, it would fly under the radar nicely for people who would be weird and mean about the vampire part of it.
It's the perfect time to bring this back.
Oh yeah.
The market
It's
is
both
primed.
topical and a clear reference.
But yeah, I mean, it was so sad to see the rest of these sexy vampires go because, I mean, sorry, Marco, you were the least hot of the sexy vampires. The blonde one really did it for me. The brunette one had the most pirate vibes, I would say, and maybe the best death. But the blonde one, when he went out, do we have a name for him? You guys said names earlier.
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Oh, that's such not. That ruins it. I wish I
They
didn't
don't
know.
say it in the movie. They don't
Okay,
say it
it's
in
not
the
his
movie.
name.
It's only
Not
on
his-
IMDb.
Not his name.
It's a bad name. Unless your name is Dwayne, then it is a great name. Thank you for listening to our podcast.
It's not canon, so bye. But like, he's looking so hot. He's being such a pompous asshole. He's like, garlic doesn't work, and then he gets shot in the face with the holy water, and he still looks hot. And then Nanook comes in with the fucking win. Another prime acting moment from Cody the dog. Like, truly beautiful stuff. But
A star.
any death that causes like a horrible water intrusion like adds like another layer of horror to it for me. Just seeing all of the sinks back up and shoot out pink
Ugh.
and
I
flood
love
the
that.
entire beautiful house. It was beautiful, but I was also like, the poor grandpa,
Poor
his beautiful
grandpa.
home, the tile work. Yeah, you can tell I'm approaching 30. But that was a fucking beautiful death. It was gorgeous. What a way to go.
Okay, but also death by stereo. Sick.
I didn't expect Sam to be so good at shooting arrows. And he
A
had
hidden
such
talent.
confidence too. He like misses the first time, and then he's like, "I only miss once." Like, okay, somebody went to
Since
summer camp.
when?
I do have a question about that scene because IMDb said that director Joel Schumacher said that death scene took 2 weeks to film, and this film was only filmed in 3 weeks. And so I have to wonder, did they film the whole rest of the movie in 1 week, or did they just film that film over the span of 2 weeks, but just like 20 minutes a day? Like, I would love to know more. I would love to know more. I have a lot of questions. If you told me they filmed the whole rest of the movie in 1 week, I'd believe you, though.
I believe these are talented actors.
I believe you.
They only had to wear that stage makeup, the vampire makeup, one time, and they did all the shots not one day.
Except for Dwayne, who wore it for 2 weeks straight.
Poor Dwayne. Well, wait, that wasn't even Dwayne. I thought Dwayne's the one who died in the bathtub.
No, that's Paul. Did
Oh.
I speak incorrectly earlier?
You
Maybe.
told me that the blonde one's name was Dwayne, and
I don't know which one is blonde and which one's not blonde. Didn't you just say the brunette was in the bathtub?
no. The brunette gets shot by the arrow and hit into the
I can't
stereo.
keep track of their hair colors. Everyone who
Oh my
wasn't
God,
David
there's
was
only one
anonymous to me.
brunette.
Everyone who wasn't David was anonymous to me, except for
Marco.
But I couldn't have told you which one he was. I just knew there was a Marco.
Marco was the blonde mullet
I know
guy.
now. There's all three of them are blonde mullet guys, first of all. So just please don't pretend like that's narrowing anything down.
There are 4 of them, and one of them's brunette, and he looks the most like a pirate, as I said earlier.
Clearly, I don't know which one that is, so I don't know what you want from me.
The brunette one.
Look, we're anonymous, other than David.
That's the one with
can't
the most
repeat
pirate.
myself enough.
Oh,
I hear you.
okay.
I
Sure.
could
Move
tell you
on.
that one was a brunette. Can I tell you at any point what the brunette did? No.
He didn't have any lines except for "you missed" or whatever. And Michael, about 30 Michaels, and that's it. But yeah, I will say David's death was pretty fucking sick. But there are questions such as, was it a death? Did he die? Did he survive? Because he did not blow up. And so also what after that period happened, his facial hair was gone. And I was like, maybe he's just a better version of himself. I don't know.
I love because we see him and Michael fight, and I'm just like, yes, kiss. Like, and I was in my notes, I'm like, is flying a symbol for uncontrollable sexual urges?
Also, Michael's like, or not Michael, David's like, I don't want to kill you, Michael. I just want to give you eternal life. And I was like, so you could be boyfriends forever.
An eternal life with me. Let's move to the suburbs. Like,
It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
I mean, okay, frankly though, that whole death scene or death scene, I do have a lot of questions about. I don't know that it really fit with the larger lore of this movie. Per IMDb, it was potentially left open-ended because in a script that I don't think or maybe it did. Let me do a quick Google real quick. There's like this whole other weird thing. Okay, yeah. In that scene where David dies, it's like really strange. And they potentially left it open-ended because there's like a sequel that came out in 2008. And I guess it's
What?
implied that David's character is like sired the new vampire in that movie, but it also just doesn't make any sense. Because in this movie, let's ignore that because frankly, that's not my business. But in this movie, they say like the vampires are gonna explode or implode. Those are two of the options.
Mhm.
But that also if the chief vampire, I forget what they say, the vampire in charge, head vampire, when the head vampire dies, anybody who's turned like goes back to being a person, arguably, or is that only for half vampires?
Only half sees.
Okay, but
And what makes you a full vampire is when you take a life. You suck their blood.
yes.
right, but so if you kill the head vampire and do his like full vampires retain their powers then, and they become like head vampires in their own? There's an open-ended question there for me. But regardless, when we see him get impaled, his body stays fully intact, but there's this like weird heavenly light on him that
He looks
only
like a
exists in
little
that scene
cherub.
without any of the others, and it
And his
apparently
facial
takes
hair
his
is
beard away.
gone.
Yeah,
Yeah. This is
takes
like
his
the
beard
Peter
away.
Pan of it all. He like returned to his boyish form before all the blood sucking and the miscreancy. I don't
But
know
so
if that's a word.
it take away his like vampirism?
No, I don't think so because that doesn't make sense. Just like for the whole lore of vampires in general, I know like every vampire story has its own rules, but like if your life was inextricably bound to whoever made you, then you wouldn't really have eternal life because you'll always be vulnerable. Because if some other fucking dude dies or gets staked or trips on a stick and gets stabbed through the heart, you're dead too, and that kind of takes the glamour out of it. So I feel like once you're a full vamp, like the draw of sucking that first blood and leaving your humanity behind is that you're alive forever.
Was it, speaking of vampire, more vampires things, wasn't it in like the Vampire Diaries that like if you killed one of the original vampires, everybody else would die? Or am I just like remembering that wrong?
I don't know, but I know in Game of Thrones, when you kill one of the others, all of their whites die.
Yeah.
Same thing, same as Vampire Diaries, exact same story, identical.
So weird. Same plot.
Nina
Same plot.
Dobrev is in both.
Is she?
No, sorry. I thought I might sound really convincing.
Sydney was completely in.
She was willing to give me a shot, and I betrayed her trust, and I'm sorry.
You did.
Oh man.
Maybe
yeah.
somebody was in both, not Nina Dobrev. But she
No.
was in Degrassi,
And she
and
was in
Spike from Degrassi, her hair felt very Lost Boys.
and most importantly, she was in The Roommate, which is an incredible film. So there you go.
That
Wow.
we've covered on Spooky Tuesday. Go back and listen.
Yeah.
Several clear references right here.
Okay, the final reveal of freaking Mr. Gilmore, Richard Gilmore, being the vampire, the head vampire. Like, I was almost a little bit of a letdown because I thought that I had been misled so much before. But then also there was not enough time left in the film for it to be anything else. Like, what if in the last 3 minutes they were like, and here's this dude, Jonathan, and he's actually the head vampire. No, it had to be Max. It had to be.
Yeah.
Of all of them, Max was the scariest looking as a vampire. Not cute
Yes.
at all. Not sexy.
And they based that look after Joel Schumacher himself, which is kind of funny.
Oh, sorry, Joel. Sorry.
I
You
think
did a great
maybe
job on the
it's-
movie.
Maybe it's scariest because they made him look so much like not himself and like somebody else, where they tried to keep all of the other vampires' prosthetics like so subtle so that they could still be very sexy, like
Very
Joel
sexy.
Schumacher wanted them to
Yes.
be. And this one was a lot more going on because he really tried to transform his face to look like Joel Schumacher's. But yeah, I think there's like an IMDb trivia piece that says like they were looking at the dailies after they filmed the makeup test maybe or something, and he's like, is that me? Is that me?
I thought I'm over here, but that's me over there.
That's fucking funny.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's all to get Lucy, I'm like, okay, she's super cute. But also just I don't know. It was good. It was good. It was good. The whole idea of the like vampire Brady Bunch, as Corey Feldman puts it, is a beautiful, beautiful thought. I would have loved to see an alternative ending where they did all become vampires and they live forever in sexy, sexy harmony. You know, like that would have been
Yeah.
nice for me too. But you know,
Yeah.
it's 87 and they weren't as pro vampire back then, and so I get it. I get it. It wasn't gonna happen at that
said-
time.
we can only have one gay character, and it has to be Sam. Everybody else has to go.
Everybody else has to go. It's too bad. It's really too bad. But beautiful ending. Love to see Grandpa coming back, being a helpful boy again. He knew he knows more shit than he ever let on. And
Well, there's a
What were you gonna
scene
say?
with Grandpa when they're driving and they're like, "Grandpa, we're gonna borrow the car, bye," and they're like, go into the vampire's den. You see Grandpa like putting up stakes around the
Yeah.
yard.
yeah, because when I first saw that, I was like, hey, you wouldn't put the pointy part up. Like that would make it easier to stick it into the ground. I'm like, oh, he's switching the fence into combat mode right now. He knows what's going on. Good.
And then he
Grandpa's
ends on that
ready.
great line. The
Oh, God.
final line in the movie, him being like, "One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach, all the
Oh, the
damn
damn
vampires."
vampires. Honestly, Grandpa getting the final say in this movie just like felt right, you know?
Oh yeah.
Also, the
'Cause-
fact that he's like, I've nearly died. My whole family has nearly died. I'm not going to go check in with them. I'm going to get a fucking root beer from my special grandpa section of the fridge. Incredible.
Which is funny because that wasn't the original ending that they had planned. Again, per IMDb, but the original ending that they planned was, I guess some of the Lost Boys were supposed to have survived, or maybe there are other Lost Boys that were not part of David's clique. But they were gonna be like back at the Sunken Hotel, and there was gonna be like a mural with Richard Gilmore in it, sort of a la Candyman, although
Candyman,
that came later. But that was going to be the end, and then they're like, "Do you know what? This is funnier." I didn't know that that's why they
Very
picked
funny.
that, but that I can only assume.
You love it when it ends with a joke. It's good. It's beautiful.
This movie was like fucking funny.
It was
It
so
was a
funny.
funny movie.
I loved it.
Some of it unintentionally, though, maybe.
Well, this movie was like the first like toe dip into a horror comedy. Like those were like not a thing. Like Gremlins kind of, but it was like aimed as like a
Gremlins,
kids movie.
Definitely funny.
Oh, Gremlins is hilarious, but it was like a kids movie. So it was supposed to be, and this like wasn't supposed to be a kids movie. This was
Oh,
supposed
yeah.
to be like a sexy teen movie.
Teen movie.
But
Sexy, like
teen-
Schumacher said. But yeah, the teens are, even the young teens are doing some curse words. You know what I mean? So you know it's mature.
Oh yeah, very mature. For mature audiences only.
But yeah, I mean, I do think some of this was funny, not in a way that they intended. Like there was one David and Michael scene where David said, "I tried to make you immortal," and the way that Michael responded was made me laugh because he goes, "You tried to make me a killer!" Like he really like jumps up on the energy, and yeah, the way that he did some of his lines truly cracked me up, and that was one of them. And the scream, pause, scream in the following montage earlier, those two really are gonna stick with me.
A beautiful moment. A beautiful moment. But okay, so we probably clocked saying the word gay more times in this episode than any episode past. You'll get a prize if you count and find out for real. The prize
If we say it at the same rate of times that they said Michael in this movie, something will happen. I don't know what.
Something will happen.
Something,
Someone else
probably.
will have to count though, because it won't be us. But could this movie have been gayer is the question. And I mean, I guess Sam could have been like, I'm gay, you know? And then like, I love Rob Lowe. One of the Frog brothers could have, there could have been something there if they weren't like alt-right scary people like we talked about earlier. There's a lot
I thought for a second that there was going to be something with one of the Frog brothers. and then he shuts it down, which I almost liked more. But when he like goes back to the comic book store, I thought potentially he was like scouting a crush moment, and then 1 second later he like is like, ugh, you guys gross. Which also does feel a little bit like it is confirming his sexuality, because the way that they present themselves is you know, very typically macho straight. um and so rejecting that, I think, and being like, I'll pray I never need to call you, sure, like, frankly, that felt affirming to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That checks out. That checks out. We could have had a passionate kiss between David and Michael right before, instead of David being thrown onto those maybe antelope antlers that he was impaled on, because those were not deer antlers. I don't know what the fuck those were. Um, they could have just been like, you know what? Let's kiss instead. And then they just make out. And then that's the end of the movie. That could have been a really good
That
alternate.
would have been a great ending.
I don't know. Just tell Joel, see what he thinks. Just pitch it to him.
Joel is dead.
Tell us, I'll go to his grave and I'll tell him. I'll whisper it. I would do that. He did a great job. I would bring him flowers.
Okay.
Yeah. He's a great guy with a apparently very scary face. But where else could it have been gay? Star could have rejected Michael and been like, there's another lady vampire, and then run off with her, and then we never see her again. That could have been good too.
If we had seen Star go full vamp, arguably that would have felt gay itself. You know what I mean?
100%.
That would have been gayer for me.
I feel that very deeply in my soul, yes. But you know, for a movie that is the least gay Pride Month movie we've done, it's still pretty fucking gay. Glitter blood. I mean, we've touched on it already. But
Glitter blood, and that one scene where Marco has just died, and David is like trying to get Sam, and he gets pulled into the light, and I know the tear is not about that, and the tear is just because the context irritated the actor's eyes. But the fact that right after Marco dies, one of his boys, David has that single solitary tear, that felt very sweet and gay to me.
it was very sweet, but also let's normalize even straight men having emotions. We know it's gay. We've been there. We've done that. Where's Matthew Lillard fitting into this 87 classic? I feel like seamlessly as any one of the pirate gay vamps. Any one of them. Mm-hmm.
Literally any vampire would be great.
Yeah.
He could be the saxophone guy if he played the saxophone.
No one can replace Timmy Capella. Okay. All right. I can't imagine him being buff enough to pull that off, TBH. I would never want to see him get that built. It just would kind of upset me.
How old was Matthew Lilley in 1987? Early?
Old enough.
Probably like 17. I feel like I've looked up his birth year enough times to know that it's 1970.
1970, yeah. He was 17.
Yeah, so he would definitely be...
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland was 17 when he filmed this movie, so Matthew Lillard could easily have played David, but frankly, he could have played, in my opinion, if we time travel, could have been literally any role other than Lucy in this movie.
That is fair.
He'd be her grandpa.
Star.
Oh yeah.
He'd be a wonderful laddie.
He would be a wonderful laddie.
The part when Laddie pops out of the bed and is like, and somehow has the power of wind, like, and confetti. Like, I love that for him. Maddie could have pulled that off, no problem.
Maddie as Laddie, I just feel like there's something here, babes.
It rhymes. It has to make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. I don't even know who's the dumb bitch of this movie. Max? I mean, it was a good plan though. Like it was a really good plan. It was fucked up.
It's Michael.
He succumbed to peer pressure.
Right? Like
he got into a motorcycle race that nearly took him out James Dean style. Like day 2 of being in Santa Cruz or Santa Carla.
I'm like, sure, I know he was gaslit to thinking that
Yeah.
the food wasn't, but Star still told him, don't drink it, it's blood. And he was like, I'm gonna do it anyways.
The thing is that I think the theme of this movie is you know, consent exists in this film. He knows it's blood, he hears it's blood, he's offered it, he chooses to drink it, but the true theme is informed consent is really important. You know what I mean? Like, you have to know what you're agreeing to really be able to agree to it. And so I hesitate to say that it is Michael necessarily, although frankly he went along with a lot of things that I would have rejected, like a motorcycle race to the edge of a cliff. You know what I mean? I feel like
No,
that
that's
wasn't
smart,
implied that he knew that he was going to the edge of the cliff, and he was like, and then he got to the edge and he was like, hey, and I was like, they told you guys were going to the cliffs. Like, I don't know why you thought that you should speed all the way to the end. He told you not to beat him. He told you just to keep up with him. Actually, now
masculinity once again.
yeah, but I do think I just talked myself into Michael a little bit after all.
No, yeah. I mean, it's not Sam. He's our perfect boy.
Oh, for sure.
Okay,
No,
well,
no,
the Frog
Sam is
Brothers are
perfect.
Sam's perfect. The Frog Brothers are a little dumb. They're kind of
That's a good nomination.
but like
Yeah.
also no, they're pretty dumb.
They're innovative, they improvise, but they think that they know it all and they don't, and that's dumb bitch behavior.
Yeah, they like really crack under pressure as well, which like they are nearly children. They're freshly teens, you know.
Sure.
So some would say tweens, but others would say no, they're definitely teens.
Me.
And so
It's
it
me.
makes it's Sydney.
Well,
makes it
the
a little
actor
more
who played
understandable.
Alan, yeah, was 16, so he was
He's
definitely
a teen. He's a
a
teen.
teen. Yeah,
He's a teen. He
confirmed
just looks
teen.
like a little baby infant boy. But
Totally.
besides their age, you know, they're just all talk no game kind of. And then they're still cocky to a fault at the very end. Iconic quote from Corey Feldman when he says, after they've done not that much to kill the vampires, they say, so how much should we charge him for this? After like they did not kill Max, they did not kill David.
They didn't even kill
Blaine.
Paul. That was all Nanook.
Nanook did that.
That is true.
Nanook did that.
Nanook did that.
Is the star of the movie, high key.
Nanook is the smart bitch.
Yes.
Nanook is the smart bitch. No dumb bitch this time, just a smart bitch, and it's Nanook.
No. I'm so down to have the Frog Brothers be the dumb bitches.
The Frog Brothers are the dumb bitches. Michael, you get a free card, but it's mostly because you're so sexy and you made the smart bitch decision to get an earring, and so that saved you. It
Michael
was touch and
so
go there
sexy.
for a minute. Also, I have to say this. The poster of this movie is super misleading because he's wearing those Ray-Bans and they don't look good on him, and in my opinion. And so I was not expecting how sexy he was to be, and I would have seen this movie in its entirety much earlier in my life if they had done a more accurate poster. And that's just all I have to say about it.
That said, the poster absolutely slaps.
It does slap. It does slap. The glasses show like they completely diminish his sexy cheekbones. Just saying, all right? Gotta know your shape, Michael. All right. So okay, we gotta do our knives out of 5 now. So who wants to go first? Who wants
I'll set the scene. Yeah. On IMDb, this movie got a 7.3 out of 10, which is pretty high. And then on Rotten Tomatoes, it got 76% fresh from critics and 85% fresh from audiences, which frankly is a lot higher than I expected. Not to say that I think this movie is worse than that, but to say I think that this movie is kind of on the same quality level as some other movies that we've enjoyed that have been ranked really low on such services. And I think this movie has a lot of the same trappings of those other films. So I was surprised to see that it was so well received, but I did think it was really good. But I don't want to say my knives first
I'll go.
because I don't know them yet.
I love this movie. I've always loved this movie. This movie is so good. And this is a 5 out of 5 for me.
The elusive 5
I
out of 5.
do. This is a movie that I watch all the time, like still. Like I love watching it. I have such a good time. When it was on TV every time, I would always stop and watch it. Like I love this movie. It's so good. It's so fun.
It's so good.
It is. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah.
I went back to see what else you gave 5s, and I think it's in good company for you. You've got a couple of 5s that you've handed out. You can be very harsh with your rating, but when you've got a fave, you're generous with those 5s.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Do you want to go next, or you want me to? I'll do it if you need more time.
You can go.
Okay. So this movie, I was sure that I had seen it before, and then I watched it 2 weeks ago, and I was like, no. Or somehow my brain forgot. Like this, oh my God. It was like seeing it with brand new eyes, probably because I'd never seen it before. And it was I had such a fucking blast. Like, oh my God, I'm so glad I got to rewatch it again today. Didn't pay enough attention. This movie deserves your undivided attention. And don't worry, Adam hasn't been able to watch it yet, and he really wants to see it. So I will watch it for the third time in 3 weeks, and I'm excited about that. But I mean, just this movie was made by a man who has like the same core beliefs as I do, you know, just like they're sexy, let them be sexy. You know what I mean? Frankenstein's not hot. I feel like Frankenstein could be hot, and also it's Frankenstein's monster, so let's be clear. Frankenstein certainly could be hot. Because he's just a man. So let's not forget about
He's
that.
a doctor, you know. He's got that higher degree. He's potentially got a great yearly salary, you know.
That's already hot. Okay, so he spoke a little too soon there. But I will agree with him. Vampires are the sexiest villain that there ever is or ever will be. Because half of the game is that when you become a vampire, you just get way hotter. And so like that's like a big draw. That's like a huge draw. But yeah, this movie was just so good, so funny. The dialogue was so witty, so many great references. Timmy fucking Capello. I mean, like now my whole life has changed because I have to follow him around the country wherever he plays his next show. You know, like I'm now a groupie for him, and that wasn't the case just 2 weeks ago. Not even before today because I didn't know his name. So definitely a formative film for me. And you know, just reminds me of how freaking lacking my 80s movie knowledge is and how I really need to go back and do my goddamn homework. But yeah, this was a joy. I'm so glad we watched this. I'm so glad we watched this for Pride Month, and I'm gonna give it like a 4.8888 repeating because like it's just fucking fire. It just is.
Yeah, I also really liked this movie. I also didn't give it the attention that it deserved. I only watched it once. I was kind of in a rush, you know, so I really didn't have the time to sit with it. I would like to watch it again. Maybe I'll come over when you watch it with Adam. But it is really fun. The dialogue is so great. There's so many really wonderful lines. But I do need to dock points for the fact that the lady vampire didn't vamp out. You know what I mean? To me, that is a pretty big mistake. And maybe that's because I'm a lady. But I just think, you know, he really Joel Schumacher stepped in it with that one, and he told on himself a little bit. You wanted all the sexy people to be sexy, and you deprived us of the sexiest of all potentially. And I just think, you know,
Big mistake.
a mistake.
Huge.
That said, I would still give it like a 4.5 knives out of 5. So that's
a great score
what
from
I'm
you.
giving it.
Okay. I would give it that, and so I will give it.
I would give it that, and so I will give it that.
And then shocker, I will.
Crazy. Who could have seen it coming?
I
The best twist of all time. M. Night Shyamalan. Who?
Ooh, I can't wait till we cover one of his movies. That's gonna be a trip. But yeah, oh my God, can you believe it? Pride Month is over now.
I'm sad, but then again, these games could still be gayer. So I know in my heart that we will always be finding the gay moments where
Oh, yeah.
they potentially were not intended to be. And so for us, really, we're proud all the time.
Yeah, Pride Month is every month on this podcast. We literally have a segment every single episode. But it was fun to just really vamp it up a little bit. Haha, pun intended. I'm so sorry.
But
unfortunately, we have to go in a completely different direction now.
Okay, so next week, I don't know if y'all have seen this movie, but when this movie came out in 2005, I believe it was, no, it was a 2006 movie. So I was 15 seeing an R-rated movie because why not?
Mhm.
I was really fucked up. This movie is The Hills Have Eyes. The remake, the 2006 one. I have yet to see the original 70s one, which I know, shameful. Maybe I will also
Especially
watch
for you.
that this week.
I know. It's not on brand for you.
Well, so I watched this movie first before I even knew there was an original, and this movie when I was like 15 like really fucked me up. I haven't seen it since, so I don't know if it holds up, but I'm very interested in rewatching it and then talking about it.
Go ahead.
I never saw this movie, but I just remembered that like my cool friends who actually could watch scary movies in high school, because that was like a later in life thing for me, saw it and were absolutely fucked up by it. And I just screamed downstairs to Adam to let him know we're doing this movie and therefore watching it tomorrow together. And he said, "Oh God," because he's seen it before. So I'm so excited. Oh, I'm scared.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it. I did look up the description when we were looking for movies to do for this summer. I have to say, based on the description alone, I am very glad that I have recently returned from a desert road trip and am not about to embark on a desert road trip. So that's good. That's something. You know what I mean? I know I'm safe now. Certainly curious to see how terrified I will still be in hindsight. So I'm looking forward to this. Maybe, but also I'm a little bit not, because now I'm scared. Oof.
We haven't watched like an actually scary movie on the pod in like a really long time.
Yeah, in
a minute. So I don't have my chops up. I'm gonna pee at the couch. It's gonna be terrible. Gonna have to prepare for that.
Just tell Adam to be ready.
We're gonna mentally prepare for the next 24 hours. But if you want to see some more funny things instead of something scary, you should follow us on social media. Did you know that we have an Instagram and a Twitter and a TikTok all under the @spooky_Tuesday? Well, now you know, and you have no excuse to not follow us on all platforms. We also have a Facebook and a Tumblr, and that's Spooky Tuesday Pod. And didn't you have a good time listening to this last hour and a half? Why not give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts while you're at it? Just make our day. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for listening.
Bye, Spooky.
Spooky Tuesday was created by Monica Height, Sydney Thompson, and Chelsea Duff, and edited by Sydney Thompson. Our gorgeously spooky tunes are all thanks to Tamra Simons, who you can follow on Instagram @Captain Tamra. And our podcast art is by Mary Murphy, who you can find on Instagram @the_moon_OMG.
One thing about living in Santa Carla I never could stomach. All the damn vampires.